Okay, don't leave yet. Onward to the trip.
Dad, you got on the other side.
Here we are, survivors. We're out on a canoe trip. I've been on a bunch of canoe trips out to the Boundary Waters with my dad. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna paddle for a while. We're gonna look for a nice camping spot along the side of the lake. Have a nice fire, have some nice food. And have a good time. Fist pump the stratosphere.
Yep. Nope. There's no bird nest.
We could go back in there, but there's a bunch of dead trees. See, they're all broken off. That's from the wind. And that makes for a dangerous shelter location. Keep going, keep paddling. We may camp right up ahead. Let's check it out.
Okay.
What are you doing? This looks like a good spot up ahead. Let's go in here. There you go, good job. Thank you.
Are your hands cold, Dad?
Let's check the place out before we set up a shelter.
Okay.
Take off my 1980s Stearns fishing life jacket. No dead trees around here, could just flatten out the ground a bit. Eagle's nest up there, 2 eagles sitting up there. You can be a little more liberal with your stuff when you're canoeing. A canoe can hold a lot of weight, but you'll draft more water. It'll slow you down a bit. And if you have to portage in between lakes, then you want something a little more comfortable than this. This is nice though, because it's waterproof. There always seems to be some water in the bottom of the canoe. It's a good solid dead tree right here. First, take the bark off. If the bark just falls off, that's a good sign. And you check the cambium layer. The cambium layer is the layer that is living in between the bark and the wood on the inside, which is actually dead. So that cambium layer eventually hardens and turns into the growth ring. Check that. This one, non-existent, dry, cut into the side. You can see that it's dry. You can feel it. You can put your lips on it and kiss it. Feels dry because your lips can detect moisture a little easier than your hands. This one is dead, along with no green pine needles on top. First, see if you can push it over. Make sure the top doesn't fall on you like you're cutting down a tree with a chainsaw. Or we might need to cut it down with the axe. Oh, got it. Saves work there. Check out my axe video if you want to know how to cut a tree up. Generally, it's a good idea to take all the branches off first. Take them off on the opposite side so it doesn't glance off towards you into your leg. So on the opposite side of the tree, cut off the branches. There you go. Thanks, buddy. Now that our limbs are off, it's going to absorb less energy when I chop into it. Make your notch about the width of the tree. And then right before the ends stop, don't cut into the dirt. Break it off, then we can split that up. Or you can use a saw.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Brace your wood up on a log so you don't chop into the ground. This ponderosa is tough. You get through on one side, flip it around, go to the other. First, scrape down to earth. That's where the fire can't go underneath the duff right here. Even if you have a rock ring, that fire can smolder underneath the duff that's underneath those rocks and then light up somewhere else outside. So scrape down to the soil, the bare soil. Get a nice solid platform, put a brace down so I can lay my sticks on there and it won't smother it. Vaseline cotton ball, spread it out in the middle one way, turn it 90 degrees, spread it out. That's all you need to do. Use something other than your knife so you don't dull your blade.
Woo, woo.
Put them on. Put them on the other way. One tree fire, easy. Now in this place here, a lot of the branches, the small branches on the trees, aren't dry. They're too big and they're not dry. They're not pencil lead size. So it's easier and more reliable to split up some wood to be able to get it going. All this smoke here is drying all the wood out. Eventually the flame's gonna come through. So keep putting wood on, get that wood drying out. Pie iron, the double pie iron. Ah, that feels good.
Oops, sorry.
Tonight what we have is
What?
some back straps, marinated in some olive oil, some thyme, oregano. Ooh, I'm looking forward to those.
Tutti.
Think it's hot enough?
Yeah.
Egg, steak, avocado, cucumber. Mmm. Oh, it's a nice night. It's supposed to get down below freezing tonight, but we got warm sleeping bags. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna get settled in after we eat this. It's been a good day, huh? Good?
Mhm. Dad, did you move my egg?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I wanted that.
Okay, let's make you one.
Close your eyes. Eat it. Actually, eat it.
Ah, what is it?
The top of the cucumber.
I thought you said it was the best part.
It is the best part.
Oh yeah? Well, I like it. I like it. Handful of pine needles, water, fill it up, make some pine needle tea. Get that vitamin C in pine needle tea.
And you've got to.
Prevents scurvy.
I got straw.
Once the tea's cooled off, you can take your pine needles out, throw those in the fire, and drink it up. The moon rises in the east and sets in the west, just like the sun. So if you need to find your direction, that's one way to do it. All right, so it was a good day. We're not going to be cold tonight. We got enough sleeping bag, I hope. I know we do. You ready to go to bed? Let's go to bed. Oh, it's a good morning. My buddy wakes up before I do.
I always do.
A good tip if you have more inexpensive sleeping bags, you can just double them up and increase the rating, or put clothes in your sleeping bag, put a blanket in, maybe have a small down blanket or a bigger one that you can put inside a sleeping bag. That'll warm you right up. So you don't need a big, huge, expensive $500 down bag. You can just add insulation to it and you'll be just fine in the cold environments. Ponderosa is the worst splitting wood out of all the pines that I've tried. Put them over the fire. Good job. So once you get your fire going with some split wood, you can put some damp sticks that you found, not all the way wet. Put some damp sticks on there, that'll dry it out no problem. So you don't need as much split wood if you don't have as much. Just let that sit on there. That's gonna smoke. That's all the water vapor coming off, drying out. And then eventually it'll burn through. And in the meantime, while it's drying out, go get some more wood.
Yes, right here.
Thanks, Scott, for this instant coffee.
You destroyed my spatula.
Once you get your fire going, just throw whatever wood on from the ground. As long as the fire is big enough, it'll dry it out. The sleeping setup that kept us warm last night. This is a Marmot Helium, 15 degree. And since it got down to about 30, that's right around the edge of gonna keep me warm in this sleeping bag. So I wanted to make sure I was gonna be warm. So I have this down blanket on the inside as well. Kept me nice. But I still would have got cold if I didn't have a good pad underneath. I have this regular X-Bed inflatable pad, and then you want to put a foam pad underneath if it's going to be real cold out there, because then that creates a lot more insulation for the ground, or if there's snow. And then got real Gucci and have this cot, this little backpacking cot that can be kind of nice to sleep on. So I keep this almost all the way deflated, keep it down real low, and then that gives me some cushion with this cot pad as well, with this cot. And then I have this thermarest pillow, which is pretty nice. Then my son, he has a couple sleeping bags, that kept him warm. He said he was cold at first, but the zippers were unzipped. And then he was on this old X-Ped inflatable pad. And then I just got a piece of Tyvek for a ground cloth. And you want to be careful out here. These pine cones are real sharp. And if you put a pad on that and you lay on it, it's going to pop it. It's just going to pop it. There's no give to those. So you got to be pretty careful on checking the ground before you lay your pad down. All right, we're going to pack up. Put the stuff in the canoe. Trucker's hitch, safety, flip it around, come around again, trucker's hitch. Check out the knots video for a little more detail. Off we go. Goodbye, campsite. Now you especially want to be careful in the waters like this where it's later in the fall, the water is real cold. If you take a dive on the drink, you're going to be going into hypothermia pretty quick. So you need to right your canoe up, maybe get back in it. It's going to be pretty tough, but it's generally a good idea to stay close to the shore. So if you get swamped, you can get in real quick, make a fire, maybe get into dry clothes, your spare clothes, and stay alive.
Finally.
There's something about canoes and kayaks, paddle powering yourself along. Kind of therapeutic in a way because of the sound of the water. And you're getting somewhere with your own power, so it gives you some satisfaction. But you can go a long ways with a canoe and going on canoe trips. And going in the boundary waters of Minnesota. You can go 100 miles in 2 weeks. If you really push you could go 100 miles in a week. Just think if you're going just a few miles an hour while you're canoeing, you can put some distance down. The thing that really holds you back is the wind. So if you're going against the wind, then that really slows you down. But you can still get places. Gives you some exercise at the same time. It's a great trip. We'll see you on the next one. Keep surviving. Can't hear you.
You.